Today I'm going to try, I've never made this before, but I'm going to try a molasses oat honey bread in the bread machine. It's kind of a weird process for a bread maker, but just stick with it and hopefully it'll turn out really well. Like I said, I haven't made this yet. So we're going to start out by putting a tablespoon of butter, into the pan, and then 1 cup of quick cooking oats. Make sure it's quick cooking. Shake it up a little bit. And then 2 1/4 cups of boiling water. And then what you're going to do is let that sit for about 15 minutes or until it's come down to like a lukewarm temperature, so it won't kill the yeast. So it might take a little longer than that, but shake it up a little bit. So at this point we'll just wait and I will time and see how long it actually takes, but obviously it depends on the temperature in your house and whatever. But so we're going to give that a chance to soak and soften those oats and cool down, and I'll be back. Okay, so I let that sit for about 15 minutes to cool off, and now we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to start with 2 tablespoons of honey. Two teaspoons of salt, and 1/2 cup of molasses. A good idea is to spray the measuring cup with some Pam or something so it comes out easier. Okay. And then 5 cups of all-purpose flour. And then add 1 packet of yeast. And then put it in your bread machine on the dough setting, and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, I noticed the dough is still a little wet after it's been in the machine for about, I don't know, 10 minutes. So I'm going to add about half of the remaining 1/2 cup, so I guess 1/4 cup of flour. Whoops. And I'll check it again in a minute. Okay, so I ended up adding the entire 1/2 cup, and it's looking much better. It's still a little sticky, but I'm going to let it go and see what happens. And this is what you get when, or this is what I got after the dough cycle was complete. It overflowed just a little. Okay, so I'm just going to dump it out on a floured surface. Oops. A little more flour on top. And just sort of knead it just a little bit, just so you can work with it. It's really sticky. Okay, so I'm going to try to do 1 in a pan and just 1 free form and see what happens. So I'm going to cut this in half, approximately. And form it into a loaf shape and put it into my greased pan. And then I'm going to let that rise till it's about doubled in size. I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but I'll let you know. Well, the second loaf, or the second piece of dough, I'm just going to form into a loaf, sort of. place it on some parchment paper. Not very pretty, but it'll taste good. And I'm going to put a little oil on these and let them rise until they're probably about doubled in size. Okay, they've risen for about an hour. As you can see, this one's going to be huge. I cut a couple of slits in the top of that one, and we're going to put them in a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes. Okay, so they're pretty much done here in the oven. They look so good. I'm going to take them out of the oven, put them on the cooling rack, and once they've cooled down a bit, I'm going to cut one of the loaves open and try it. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here they are. Here's, whoops, the one that was in the loaf pan, and the freeform loaf. The one in the pan obviously looks prettier, but I'm sure they both taste really good. I'm going to let them cool off for a little while, though. Okay, so I couldn't really wait. It really should cool a little longer, but I ripped a piece off. I ripped a piece off and tasted it. And this bread is so good. Probably the next time I would do both of them in the loaf pan just because it looks so much nicer. But it kind of just tastes like oat bread that's a little sweet. It really is. I don't know. It's hard to describe. Other than it's really good. The other thing I would suggest, I had a 2-pound bread maker pan, and it just blew it out. So I think that I would, next time I make this, I'm going to have the recipe and just make one loaf. You don't have to use a bread maker to make this, but I'm too lazy to do it by hand, so this is the only way my family's going to get it. Well, anyway, give this a try. It is really good. Also, one more thing, in the beginning, you might want to, you're going to have to like help it mix up a little bit in the bread machine, or at least I did. If you have a more powerful bread machine, you might not have that issue. But I just turned it off, took a spoon and stirred it up a little bit and turned it back on, and it was fine. So that's all. I hope you make this bread, and I hope you really love it. And leave me some comments down below. Click the little thumbs up if you like this recipe, and subscribe to my page. Thanks.